Hey, this is Nightmare from Protocol Unsolved. Today, we're talking about the fire that killed 5 children. Except it didn't. This is the story of the Sodder children, a case that proves that sometimes the most terrifying thing a fire can do is leave nothing behind. Christmas Eve, 1945. A night meant for warmth, for laughter, for the innocent joy of children. But in Fayetteville, West Virginia, a different kind of fire was ignited. A blaze that consumed not just a house, but 5 young lives? Or did it? What unfolded that night was not simply a tragedy, but the beginning of one of the most perplexing and enduring mysteries of the 20th century. A story of a family shattered, a fire that left no trace, and a question that echoes through the years. What truly happened to the Sodder children? George and Jenny Sodder were Italian immigrants who had built a good life and a thriving trucking business in Fayetteville. They had 10 children, a large and boisterous family that was the heart of their world. As Christmas of 1945 approached, the anticipation was palpable. The younger 5, Maris, who was 14, Martha, who was 12, Louis, who was 9, Jenny, who was 8, and Betty, who was just 5, were the most excited. That Christmas Eve, the youngest children were allowed to stay up late, showing off their new toys. Around midnight, Jenny quietly extinguished the lights, leaving the Christmas tree glowing as she went to sleep. She was the last person to see her children alive. But in the early morning hours, around 1 a.m., a piercing shriek shattered the stillness. Jenny Sodder awoke to the smell of smoke, a pungent, sickening odor, and the horrifying sight of flames already licking the walls of their home. George and Jenny, along with their 4 eldest children who were sleeping in a separate part of the house, managed to escape the inferno. But their 5 youngest, nestled in their upstairs bedrooms, were trapped. The staircase was instantly engulfed in flames, and the fire raged with an unnatural speed, a ferocity that defied all logic. In a state of sheer panic, George desperately tried to re-enter the house to save his children. The fire was already too intense. The heat was unbearable. He ran to his truck to get a ladder to reach the second-story window. But the truck, which had been working perfectly just hours before, would not start. The engine simply wouldn't turn over. In a frantic daze, he ran to another truck, and that too inexplicably failed. They were helpless, standing in the freezing cold, their faces illuminated by the frantic orange glow of the blaze, watching their home and their children burn. The fire department, located just 3 miles away, was inexplicably slow to respond. The fire chief who arrived later claimed he had been delayed because he could not find the key to the truck. By the time they arrived, it was too late. The home was a pile of smoldering embers, a tragic, smoking monument to their loss. In the harrowing aftermath, the Sodders expected to find the remains of their children amidst the ashes. But what they discovered defied all logic and continues to fuel the mystery to this day. Despite the intensity of the blaze that leveled their 2-story wooden house, no bones, no teeth, no human remains whatsoever were found. Not a single trace of the 5 missing children. This was not a fire that allowed for such a clean sweep. Fire officials initially offered conflicting explanations, suggesting the fire was hot enough to incinerate 5 bodies completely. But experts today state that even in the most intense fires, bones and teeth can survive. And adding to the mystery, the children's toys and even their mattresses were found untouched in a nearby yard. How could a fire hot enough to vaporize a human body leave a mattress behind? It was the first of many unsettling contradictions. Adding to the unease were a series of strange events leading up to the fire. Just weeks before Christmas, the Sodders' phone lines had been inexplicably cut. A repairman had been sent to fix it, but he never completed the job. On the night of the fire itself, George received a disturbing phone call from a woman asking for someone he didn't know, followed by another chilling call later that night, where all he could hear was eerie laughter and the clinking of glasses. Were these mere coincidences or sinister omens of what was to come? There were other inconsistencies. The morning after the fire, a local truck driver claimed he saw 5 children, matching the Sodders' description, riding in the heat, back of a passing truck through Fayetteville. He stated he saw them clearly, and their appearance troubled him. Could this have been the missing children, spirited away in the chaos of the night? Years turned into decades, but George and Jenny Sodder never gave up hope. They became convinced their children had not died in the fire. They hired a private investigator who uncovered further evidence. The investigator spoke with the insurance agent who had sold the Sodders a policy just before the fire. The agent had made veiled threats that if George did not agree to certain terms, his house would go up in smoke. He was later a key figure in the initial investigation, and his conflicting statements only deepened the mystery. Then, in 1968, over 20 years after the fire, they received a photograph in the mail. It depicted a young man with a striking resemblance to their son Louis, who would have been in his 30s. The postmark was from Italy, and the cryptic handwritten note on the back simply read, Louis Sodder. Fueled by this potential lead, the Sodders poured their remaining resources into finding their children. They sent the private investigator to Italy, but the trail went cold. They never received a definitive answer. The family would later discover that the fire chief, a man who was also a friend of the insurance agent, had buried a box containing a heart and other organs in the ruins, claiming they were the children's remains. A state investigation later concluded the organs were a hoax, proving they were not human and had never been near the fire. For over 25 years, the Sodder family maintained a large billboard along a major highway, displaying the children's photographs and offering a reward for any information. They followed countless leads, each one ending in heartbreaking disappointment. The billboard became a symbol of a family's relentless hope in the face of an impossible mystery. The case of the Sodder children is a tapestry woven with threads of doubt and unanswered questions. Why were there no remains? What was the significance of the strange phone calls? Did the children escape the fire and begin new lives? Or was there a more sinister explanation, involving foul play and a deliberate cover-up? The fire has long since died, but the mystery of the Sodder children burns on. What do you believe happened at Christmas night? This is Protocol Unsolved. The puzzle remains. The mystery endures.